Hello everyone, welcome to Python series on learning. My name is Nse. In today's lesson, we are going to talk about the escape sequences in Python. Let's get started. In Python, there are some characters that cannot just be included in a string because they are part of the Python syntax. Characters like single quotes, double quotes, backslash, etc. I'd refer to them as special characters. Now, escape sequences allow you to include these special characters in strings. It accomplishes this with the aid of the escape character. The escape character is the character that you and I know and refer to as backslash. This character here, the backslash character. Backslash, which is the escape character, is used to indicate that the character following it has a special meaning. This combination of the backslash and the subsequent character is called an escape sequence. I hope that you get the point. So we can basically say that escape sequences are commonly used to represent characters that are difficult to type in strings. Or we can say that escape sequences are commonly used to include special formatting in strings. Here are some examples of escape sequences commonly used in Python. We have backslash n, newline character. We have backslash t, tab character. We have backslash double quotes, backslash single quotes, and backslash. We are going to see examples of how these escape sequences are being used, and then you get to understand exactly what we are talking about here. So for this, let's head over to VS Code. So starting with the newline character written as backslash n, as we can see here, and we've already said it starts a new line. So let's see an example here. I already have this line of code written here and it's commented out. So I'm going to just uncomment it by combining control and / keys of my keyboard. Okay, so now we have this code. Let's save it and let's run it and see what happens. So notice here now that we have printed on the terminal hello on one line and world on another line. That's because we have this new line character just before world. So Python understands this as create a new line before printing world. That's exactly what we have here. After hello, we have a new line and then we have world. Now, if I decide to take out this new line character, I'll save and let's run this code again. Now notice that we have printed to us hello world all on the same line. So what this simply tells us is that when you want to introduce a new line within your string, you can use the new line character. I hope that you get the point. Let's just quickly see another example before we move on. I'm going to comment this out. So I could decide to print hello everyone, welcome to learning. Now notice that I have the new line character here just before everyone, and I also have the new line character just before welcome. So let's run this code and see what it comes to. So notice here now that at every point being preceded by the new line character, we have a new line. Everyone here is preceded by new line character, so everyone is on a new line. Welcome is preceded by new line character, so welcome starts a new line. And that's simply how it works. Now, before I move on, I want to say that while using an escape sequence, you are simply going to have backslash before the special character. I hope that you get the point. Just like we have backslash before n. Now let's see another escape sequence. Here we are looking at the tab character. Just like I said earlier, notice that we have backslash and then we have the letter T. This combination now comes to the tab escape sequence, the escape sequence that we are working with. The tab character, when used within a string, creates a horizontal white space or indentation. Now I have this code we're going to use as our example in this case. I'll uncomment it, clear the console, and let's save. So now notice that on line 18 here, we have the string name and we have nse. But before nse, we have backslash t. That's the tab escape character. Now we also have on line 19 backslash t before 18. We also have on line 20 backslash t before Nigeria. I made changes on line 20. I replaced Nigeria with Abuja here because Nigeria is not a city. Okay, so back to today's topic. We have this line of code. Let's run it and see what happens. So notice that after name, we have this white space here just before nse. After age, colon, we have this white space before 18. After city, colon, we have this white space before Abuja. That is because we introduced the tab escape character. Now, if I take this tab off just from line 18 and let's save, I'm going to clear this console so that we see what is being printed clearly. Let's run the code. Notice that we do not have up to a tab between name and nse compared to age and 18, city and Abuja. If I put back the escape character, let's save and let's run the code. Now notice that we have space up to a tab between name and nse. Now this might not be part of the course, but I just want to say that space and tab are different. So you can see the consistency in the alignment of the output just because we used the tab escape sequence. So we can simply say that the tab escape sequence is used to create consistent spacing between the labels and the corresponding values. Just like we have here, we can say that name is the label and the value is nse. We can say that age is the label and the value is 18. We can say that city is another label and the value is Abuja. The tab escape sequence would make the output appear with each label and value separated by a tab, resulting in well-aligned columns. Just like we see here, we can see name, age, and city as being under one column. We can see nse, 18, and Abuja as being under another column. So you can use the tab escape sequence to create indentation. You could also use the tab escape sequence to show columns. I hope that that's understood. Now let's talk about another escape sequence. It is the double quote escape sequence. In explaining this, I will start with an example. Let's say that we had to write this variable greeting and assign it this value of learn in say hello. You can already see that typing it this way does not look good. This is not an acceptable Python syntax. The way to use double quotes within a string that is wrapped with double quotes is using the double quote escape sequence. Like now we have learning say hello. And learning say hello being a string is wrapped with double quotes. This is the opening double quotes and this is the closing double quotes. Let me make a space here so that we can see very clearly. Now we also want hello to be wrapped with double quotes. The way to attain this in Python is by introducing the escape character, which is backslash, before the double quotes. So at the point where we have the opening double quotes, we are going to introduce the escape character, and the point just before we have the closing double quote, we are going to introduce the escape character again. And just by doing that, we can see that the error lines are gone. Now let's run this code and see what it comes to. Oh, sorry, I need to uncomment print. Okay, let's save. Now let's run this code and see what it comes to. So notice here now that we have on the terminal, learn in say hello. This hello is wrapped with double quotes. So the use of the escape characters just before your quotes is definitely one way to retain quotes in your strings when they are outputted. I hope that you get the point. Based on the example we have seen, we can say that the double quotes, when used with escape character, becomes an escape sequence that allows you to include double quotes within a string that's already enclosed in double quotes. I hope that you get the point. Now let's talk about another escape sequence. Let's look at the single quote escape sequence. Single quotes works as the double quotes. Just like with double quotes, if you have a string like this, he said hello. I'm going to create a space here so that we see more clearly. Notice that we have this whole string, he said hello, wrapped with single quotes. At the same time, within this string, we want hello, which is part of this string, to be wrapped with single quotes. Typing it like this, you can already see it doesn't look good. It is an incorrect syntax. We can't have it typed like this. We have to use the escape character at every point right before the single quote. So just before the opening single quote, I'm going to type backslash. And right before the closing single quote, I'm going to type backslash again. Now notice that the error line is no longer here. Let's save. Let's run this code. Look here on the terminal and you are going to see that we have he said hello. And we still have hello returning the single quote. So all I'm trying to say here is that when you feel the need to retain single quotes in your string, and this string is wrapped with single quotes, then you have to introduce the escape character just before your opening and closing single quotes. I hope that you get the point. Now we have seen the double quote escape sequence and the single quote escape sequence. However, you have the option of not using the escape sequence. So let's see that option. We are still going to use this exact same string, he said hello, in demonstrating this. Now let's take out the escape characters and we go back to having this syntax error. Because our string is wrapped with single quotes and hello here is wrapped with single quotes, we have this syntax error. So we could instead wrap hello with double quotes. And notice that the error line is gone. Let's run the code. Notice that we have he said hello printed to us on the console, but this time hello is wrapped with double quotes. Also, in a case where you need to use apostrophe within your string and your string is wrapped with single quotes, you're going to run into syntax error if you try to write it like this. So this is another case where you can use the escape character just before the apostrophe and you have the correct syntax. Then if we print message, run this code, and you're going to see learn in is Nse's YouTube channel. If you do not want to use the escape character here, we are talking about options. You can decide to not wrap your string with single quotes, rather use double quotes, and you will not encounter errors. So these are some of the options that you can use. Running this code prints the same thing. Learn in is Nse's YouTube channel. So all I'm trying to show here is that in a case where the string is wrapped with single quotes, you can use double quotes to indicate quotes within the string. I hope that you get the point. Now let's talk about backslash. In Python, the backslash character itself can be represented using double backslash, just like we have here. This is because the backslash character is an escape character. So when you want to include a literal backslash within a string, you need to escape it by using another backslash. Here is an example. We have this path, and this is the normal way that a path can be represented, with this backslash at intervals. Now let's try and run this code and let's see what happens. Even though we do not have any errors indicated to us here, on the terminal you can see that we have a syntax error. This syntax error comes at this point because in Python, single backslash is the escape character. When you have the single backslash typed like this, Python expects the character that you are trying to escape, just like we saw in the earlier cases when we had backslash t, we had backslash n, we had backslash double quotes, and so on. Python expects you to have a character to escape. Now let's include a new backslash in all the points where we have a backslash already. So we are going to come here just before users, we're going to introduce a backslash, and here before username we're going to introduce a backslash, and we have another backslash just before documents, we are going to introduce another backslash. Let's save. I'm going to clear the terminal just so that you can see clearly. Now let's run this code. Notice here that we have our path name written out with single backslash at various points where we want backslash. So to type a backslash, you have to use the escape character, which is a backslash, before typing the actual backslash. That makes it come to double backslash like this. I hope that you get the point. That is all that we are going to take on escape sequences. So just before we end today's lesson, I want to talk about the format method in Python. The format method is used to format strings by substituting placeholders with corresponding values. It provides a flexible and powerful way to construct strings with dynamic content, allowing you to control the appearance and layout of the final string. Let's see how that works. Here is an example of using the format method with strings. We have this string in say stored in name variable, and we have 18 stored in the age variable. We have another variable here, greeting, and we want this string to be stored in greeting variable. The string here says hello, we have curly braces, we have curly braces, years old. And at the end of this string, notice where the string ends, at the closing quotation mark. That is where the string ends. So we are adding dot format. That is us asking that this format method should work on this string and format this string hello curly braces, you are curly braces, years old, and format this string to include name and age. Now remember that name is a variable that stores in say here, and age is another variable that stores 18. Let's run this code and see what happens. Notice here that we have hello Nse, you are 18 years old. So what happens here is that the first curly braces is being replaced with the value of the name variable. In this case, that value is Nse. The second curly braces is being replaced with the value of the age variable. In that case, the value of the age variable is 18. That is why we have hello Nse, you are 18 years old. Nse in place of the first curly braces, 18 in place of the second curly braces. When using the format method like this, the order matters. If we have age before name, let's save and let's run this code. Now this time notice that the value of the age variable, which is 18, is being used before the value of the name variable. So the order in this case matters. You have to write the variables in the order that you want them to be applied within the string. I hope that you get the point. Let me comment this out. Now we can decide to use the format method directly on the variable like this. So rather than having to type it in this very lengthy way, we can decide to use it directly on the variable. In this case, the variable here is greeting and it stores this, and we are using the format method directly on the variable. And now we are applying the format method directly on greeting variable, and we are storing the output in another variable called formatted greeting. Now let's save and let's print formatted greeting and see what it comes to. So notice here that we still have the same hello Nse, you are 18 years old. So rather than type it out in a lengthy manner like this, which you could easily get it mixed up, you can decide to break it into variables like this. Apply the format method on your initially declared variable and store the output in another variable and print the new variable, and you'd have it printed just like you would have written it out like this. I mean, It's totally up to you, whichever way you are comfortable with. I also want to show that we can print this directly. We can use the print method directly on the formatted string. Let's save, and I'm going to comment this out. Let's run this code. So notice that we have the exact same output. Hello, Nse, you are 18 years old. So that's just me showing you different ways that you can write out your code using the format method. You can also specify the positions of the placeholders using indices within the format method. So now notice that this curly braces are referred to as placeholders. I should have mentioned that. It is possible to use indices. Now remember that while working with indices, we will count from 0. So if we have 0 in here and we have 1 in here and we have 2 variables here listed, and it is these 2 variables that are being used in our format method. Now let's save and let's run this code. Notice that we have the same output printed to us. Hello, Nse, you are 18 years old. If I instead have 1 here and have 0 here, this greeting is going to print following the indices provided here. Name is on index 0, age is on index 1. So age is going to print first because it is on index 1 before name is printed because name is on index 0. And in this string, we are providing that index 1 should be considered before index 0. So now let's run this code. Notice here now that we have hello 18, you are Nse years old, whatever that means. But I hope that you get the point. So this is just one of the ways that you can use the format method. Okay, so that's that for the format method. I want to apologize if you found this confusing. I am very sorry. I know that we have not talked about methods yet, but I had to talk about format method particularly because I want us to talk about something called literal string interpolation or F strings. So I needed to explain the format method so that explaining this would easily make sense to us. So let's talk about the literal string interpolation. The literal string interpolation, commonly called F strings because of the leading F character. Now we have this double quotes representing as strings, and then we have this F character here. So this comes together to give us F strings. Now the idea behind F strings is to make string interpolation simpler. To create an F string, simply prefix the string with the letter F. Any string preceded with this letter F can be formatted the same way that you would format a string using the format method. Just like we saw when we worked with the format method. Remember that we had our string and then we had this dot notation. Let's quickly go back and see that. In this case, we had our string, which is greeting, and then we had the dot notation, and then we introduced the format method. So that's the same idea with using F strings. Let's see an example here. I have this code already typed out and commented, so I'm just going to uncomment it. Now let's save, and just like we saw while we used the format method. We have the exact same variables, name and age, and we have our string hello with the interpolation where you have the curly braces. That's interpolation. We have the interpolation name and age. Now notice that we have our string here preceded with this leading F character. This preceding F character is going to allow the string to work just as if we were using the format method on it. Let's save this code and let's run it. Notice here that we have on the terminal, hello Nse, you are 18 years old. That is because in this first curly braces, that's the first point of interpolation, we have the name variable, and the name variable stores Nse. In the second curly braces, we have age. So when this code is being executed, we are going to have name replaced with Nse and age replaced with 18. That's why we have hello Nse, you are 18 years old. So I hope that I've been able to make this simple enough. Now let's see one last example, this time using arithmetic operations. In this case, we have two variables, x and y. X stores the value of 10 and y stores the value of 5. And in this F string, we have various points of interpolation. We have the first set of curly braces, we have the second set of curly braces, we have the third set of curly braces, we have the fourth set of curly braces. What is going to happen here is at the point where we have the first set of curly braces, the variable in it is x, and x stores the value of 10. So in running this code, x here is going to be replaced with 10. Y variable stores the value of 5. The second curly braces has y. So when this code is run, y is going to be replaced with 5, which is the value stored in y variable. In the third curly braces, we have something somewhat different from what we've seen so far. We have an arithmetic operation x plus y. So what is going to happen in this case is we are going to have the value of x added to the value of y. So that would come to 10 plus 5. So when this code is run, we are going to have the value of 10 plus 5, which is 15, returned to us. Now, similar with the last curly braces, which has another arithmetic operation x times y. So when this code is run, the value of x, which is 10, is going to be multiplied with the value of y, which is 5, and the result of that is going to be returned to us. That would give us 50. So let's run this code and see what it comes to. So notice here now that we have the sum of 10. 10 here is x because we have x set to 10. 5 here is y because we have y set to 5 here. Is 15. That's the result of carrying out this arithmetic operation x plus y, which is 10 plus 5 in our case, which gives us 15. The product is 50. 50 here is the result of carrying out this arithmetic operation x times y, which in our case is 10 times 5. I hope that you get the point. So in this case, the expression x wrapped with curly braces, the expression y wrapped with curly braces, the expression x plus y wrapped with curly braces, and the expression x times y wrapped with curly braces are evaluated and replaced with their corresponding values within the F string. So F strings provide a powerful and concise way to create dynamic strings in Python. So what we saw here can be referred to as a dynamic string. I hope that you get the point. This is all that we are going to take in today's lesson. Again, I apologize for springing up the format method on us. In upcoming lessons, we are going to talk about methods in Python in broader detail. However, I hope that you understand all that has been taught in today's lesson. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, please say them in the comment section. Do not forget to like and share this video. Also, subscribe to Learn In and turn on the notification bell so that you will get notified at every point when a new video is uploaded. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope that you found today's lesson helpful. See you in the next lesson.